So you might have recognised that as the BBC Snooker Theme song. Now, for our American friends out there, you might know this as snooker, and you really might not be very familiar with the sport, much like the actual composer of this song, Doug Wood, who composed the song in 1976. But then later, the BBC would then use it as their theme, and it would blow up in Britain for us that like the snooker. And as you can see, it's just an absolutely energy-filled guitar piece that is honestly fantastic to learn, and this is actually the first time I've ever played it. I've had 2 requests to learn this song or to cover it or just to show it off since the World Championships have started at the time of filming. So I thought I'd give it a go, and I had to, give it a bit of a learn and just learn the lead lines and all the kind of stuff. But to be honest, it kind of came around quite easy for me because it just has kind of a cool, almost Aussie rock kind of thing with the A chords and the open chords, but then obviously more country blues, country kind of lead lines, which to be honest were just kind of obvious, you might say, but that's why it sounds so good, because it just kind of is very recognizable and memorable and has lots of energy to it. So it's not about being complicated. Let's just break it down and look at these awesome guitar parts. So that's the kind of opening bit just there. It's almost like Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith. It's just something about it that reminds me of that particular part. But basically this is just going from the G to the A and just with open A string, so the octave. And then a little shimmy here to the A and then to the B note on the D string. So that's from the 7th to the 9th. It's kind of back and forth like that. So it's like this. At least that's how I was kind of getting it. And then you could also add, which I think is the Captain Anderton lick. It's kind of that thing there, kind of like double stops. And then just going from that minor to major third. And then G, D, A. I was just playing these as power chords, but I think old Doug Wood played it in quite a cool sort of cowboy way, according to that BBC documentary that they put out, which, by the way, really worth a watch. He came across really well on it. He seemed really chuffed to have written it, to be honest. Then this next bit starts on the 2nd fret of the D string on the E, and it kind of just shimmies along down all the notes. Like that, from the E to the G note there. It's a bit chromatic on that first bit. And then F, B flat, E major. And every time you can, you're just kind of filling in notes, like I did there. So that seems to be kind of what he did. This part's definitely the most memorable part, I think. Other than all the country licks, which, as I said before, kind of seemed pretty obvious. So after this part, kind of a bit hammer on and flick offy there, just on the 2nd fret, basically going to open strings. That's just walking down kind of F sharp minor, which we can think of here in kind of A major, which is very country. Just a little bend there. Not really even going to the major third. Just kind of like that, just kind of in between somewhere. Walking down there, and then kind of a G to a D, and then A. And then we've got this kind of cool bit, which is just, again, sort of classic country stuff, but... And I think it does that 8 times, I think. So if you think of A pentatonic, when you kind of go into that next shape there, you kind of have this... You'll come across this kind of lick a lot in country music, basically. And it just kind of consists of playing this top note, which then turns into a power chord there. And then you hammer on. And you can do this literally anywhere. You hear it quite a lot. And the way I kind of pick this is by picking down on that first note and then up, and then just hammer on back to the down. Now this bit is awesome. It's kind of, again, really, really country with a really, really nice sort of like major third kind of bend here. And that's the whole move there. There's kind of a little double pick there to get that kind of move there. And how cool is that? That's awesome. Or that bit at the end, rather. But yeah, you could do it kind of anywhere. You know, you could do it here if you want. A bit of option there. So it's really cool. And then it kind of goes back to this bit. In the original recording, there's bass and drums, and I think even an acoustic guitar, which I think is quite important to sort of the general sound of the track. But the bass is doing a lot of runs in this kind of F minor, sort of A major position. All sorts of stuff like that. And it really just completes the piece. And lots of like syncopation and really, really fun stuff. So all in all, those are all the main parts which will get you through most of the song, and then the rest is just kind of, there's the vamping bit on the E. Which you can play with as much as you want, and it kind of lends itself to the track. It's just kind of a cool rock track, isn't it? So I hope you enjoyed this video and really enjoyed looking at that awesome piece of music, because it really is super memorable to us as Brits. And hopefully if you're not from Britain and you don't even know what snooker is, you've kind of seen something a bit different there, and maybe even something you'd want to learn on guitar yourself, full of cool chords and, you know, country lines that you can actually just use in your own solos or something like that. You know, they're really transferable. So yeah, let me know if there's anything like this that you'd like me to do in another video, perhaps another theme tune of some sort. Any songs, any riffs, anything with a little bit of a different kind of slant on it. For example, I did a video which was 3 non-guitar parts but on guitar, so that was kind of cool, and I really enjoyed doing that one. So anything like that, just let me know in the comments. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to the channel and you might see some more of this kind of thing, and I'll catch you in the next video.